Come closer and know me better, man. Well, that was me doing my best impression of the Ghost of Christmas Present from Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. Of course, I think I made him sound a little bit Jamaican, and that's probably not accurate. But anyway, he was the second ghost that visited Scrooge on the night that his life turned around. He was jovial. He was really only alive for 24 hours. He was born at midnight, and he lived till the midnight of the next day. So he was having to be in the present because he was only there for such a short period of time. Like I said, he was jovial and pleasant, and he was there to help Scrooge see what was under his nose in the moment, to see what he was missing that was happening right under his nose. His message was one about being in the here and now, on staying present. And that's what we're going to talk about in this week's podcast, the benefits of staying present and how to do so during the holiday season. Well, really at any time. Hello, I'm Sherry Honeycutt from Life by Design, and I'm so glad you're taking 15 minutes or so to listen to this podcast. I've created it for folks who, like me, some days going, I wonder if this is as good as it's going to get. My work is all about helping people design a beautiful life on the inside and the out. I invite you to check out more about what I do at sherryhoneycutt.com, CHERIHONEYCUTT, and learn about what I'm doing. Take the tips and steps and do whatever you can so that you're living the life that you've always intended. But for now, grab a cup of coffee or tea, and since it's the holidays, maybe a cup of cocoa, and let's get started. Clearing your mind, clearing your clutter, and clearing a path to the life that you've always intended. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I spend the majority of my mental energy dissecting the past, thinking about the past, and planning for or worrying about the future. It's the present moment that often just kind of eludes me. And I think it's probably fair to say that most adults do this. It's one of the reasons that some of us smile so big when we see a child who gets lost in play. We kind of marvel at anyone who can be in the moment, not worrying or lamenting or planning or scheming. And of course, the holidays bring this up worst of all. At the time of this recording, we're only a few days from Christmas. The hustle and bustle is there. There's so much to do, or at least we think there is. But what I'm about to share with you are tips about staying present, which are not just tips for the holidays, although it's a really good time to think about it. It's something you can use at any time. Being present is one of the quickest ways to happiness, but like I said, it eludes us. So for that reason, I'm going to offer you some tips, okay? But before I do that, let me talk just a minute about what I mean by being present. This phrase can sound kind of woo-woo, I guess, but I want to make sure you know what I mean. Being present means that your mind is where your body is. Okay, your mind is where your body is. If you're washing dishes with your body, then your mind is washing dishes as well, not worrying about what you're going to cook later. It means when you're talking with someone, you are genuinely listening to them, not thinking about what you're going to say next, or worse yet, what you're going to do when the conversation is over. Being present means truly tasting each bite of food that goes in your mouth, appreciating the smells that wafts across your nose, breathing in the people that you are with in the moment. Well, I once went on vacation with someone who spent the whole time taking pictures and collecting menus and information about the trip so that they would know what to do the next time they went there. It was making me crazy. The result is they weren't present for the trip that they were on in the moment. They were thinking, they were in a place that was wonderful, but they were thinking about it from a future perspective. They were not being very present. And ever since that time, I have to tell you, I take very few photographs on vacation. It was one of those turning points for me. I'm like, you know what? I am going to be here in the moment, and I want to experience it and not worry about remembering it later. Okay, so to be in the present, that's what I mean by being in the present. So how do we do it? And what do we do when we realize we're not in the present, that we're thinking about the past or in the future? That's what I want to talk about. Okay. The first tip, if you will, is perhaps the most simple, and I've got little bunny ears there, the most simple, but perhaps the most crucial, and it is to breathe. Okay, I really mean to take a breath. Taking a breath through your nose all the way down to your toes, one of those deep, yummy breaths, and then breathe it in, and then whoosh, exhale it long and slow. It fills every cell with oxygen because frankly, oxygen is the bomb, y'all. It's the quickest and the easiest way to ground you. And I was thinking about, how do I talk about this? It's like, why is it that breathing makes us so present? And all of a sudden I got this visualization that's like, you know what? The quickest way to be present is have no air. Imagine all of a sudden you're suffocating or something is preventing you from taking in air. I guarantee you, nothing else matters in the moment. The only thing that matters is, where am I going to get air? It is crucial. And so sometimes we're not lacking air because we're literally breathing, but we are not breathing deeply, and therefore we're sort of living on the surface. So stopping, taking a deep, cleansing breath and letting out is the quickest way to get into your body. And I like to say 1 is good, 3 is better. So put little Post-it notes, put little stickers somewhere to take a breath. And the more stress we're under, the more likely we are to forget this really, really powerful cleansing tool. Okay? Got it. Breathe. Number 2 is something called zipping up. Zipping up. You want to zip up before the festivities begin. Since we're all, I'm not a quantum physics expert here, but this is going to be my best explanation of this in my mind. Since we're all made of atoms, our atoms react with all other atoms, okay? So another person's energy affects you and your energy affects them. Frankly, everything that has energy affects us and we affect it. So we're all these atoms bumping around next to each other, okay? So, and that's really clear with people. Well, then throw in that those very people we may have shared experiences with, and then somehow our interactions with others can be really greatly multiplied. So when we're interacting with anyone, we need to understand that their energy affects us and we affect them. Well, what if their energy ain't so hot? What if they've got some stuff that you just don't want? Okay. And I know that holidays throw us in proximity to sometimes folks that we don't actually spend a lot of time with. We make some choices. We don't spend a lot of time with them. So what do we do? This is where we zip up. So, and this I kind of mean metaphorically and physically, okay? I want you to physically, energetically place a barrier around your body, okay? And this is how I do it. I imagine that I have a hula hoop, that hula hoop thing that you put around your waist and you wiggle and you keep it up. So imagine that you've got this hula hoop and you lay it on the ground. Now, you don't have to have a real hula hoop to do this, but you lay it on the ground, and then I want you to, in your mind's eye, or maybe even literally, step into the center of this hula hoop. And then I want you to imagine that this hula hoop with it is going to bring a protective force field. Okay? Think the Starship Enterprise on Star Trek. It's a force field that's going to go around you. And so in your mind's eye, or maybe even with the motions of your hand, lift that to hula hoop up and let it scan your entire body, up your legs, up your torso, up your head, and up above you, and then bring it back down and realize that it is putting a force field around you. And if you think about it, if you watch old Star Trek, the people, even if there's a force field, you can see, you can interact, you can talk, but other people's damaging stuff can't permeate you. It's pretty awesome. Okay, so think about this as the loving light that you surround around yourself, and its only purpose is to keep out unwanted or harmful energy. Okay, and so, but Sherry, how does this keep you in the present? Well, zipping up, it lowers the chances that you're going to be triggered by somebody else's shenanigans or somebody else's energy. And when we're triggered by something typically that happens in the past, or we begin to worry about the future. And so being triggered takes us backwards or catapults us forward away from the place we want to be, which is in the present. Okay. And the goal of the holidays, or really any time, frankly, is to be in the present. Okay. So zip it up. Zip it up. Third tip, and I want you to hear this with me. What is. If you just listen to that, say that out loud. What is. Wanting something to be different is not being in the present moment. Okay. And there will be a time for evaluation later, but like something's going on right now, and in the midst of something and it turns a certain way, is rarely the time to spend planning the next time or lamenting your decisions that led to the thing that you don't want to have happening. That was pretty convoluted, but anyway. So what is. And like the ghost of Christmas present, you've got to be in the moment no matter what that moment was or is. Tiny Tim in this particular scene of a Charles Dickens, and when he's crippled and of course, Scrooge is still a mean person, Tiny Tim is still joyful that it's the holidays. He is in the moment. You burn the meal. What is. It's pouring down rain and you were really hoping for a white Christmas. What is. You oversleep and therefore you have to take a few things off your to-do list and your dinner's, quote, not as perfect. What is. The quickest way to stay happy is to just breathe through it and go, there it is. It's just what it is. That keeps us present. That keeps us from, like I said, that hand-wringing and kvetching and worrying and wishing. Nope. What is. Channel the ghost of Christmas present. Fourth, I wrote about this in a newsletter I sent out to some of my folks, is I'm encouraging you to focus on a few things, maybe even just one, the few things that everybody wants to do during this holidays, and then you let everything else take a back seat. So ask yourself, what is the most important thing for me during the holidays? What is it? Now, there are a lot of things we do, but if you had to drill down or narrow it down, what's the one or two things that's the most important? Well, for me, I love buying presents, thinking about it, planning, buying the presents, and then I love wrapping them. Okay? That's my stuff. All the other stuff is great, but I don't make a beeline to the kitchen to bake cookies. Those are not mine. I want to wrap the presents. My daughter, I ask her this question. She loves that we have family photographs. Okay, take the family pictures. My son's favorite part is seeing the ornaments that he hasn't seen from the year, for a whole year. My mother-in-law loves to sing with the family. My husband likes that little bit of laid back time where you're having a little cocktail and you're snacking before all of the holiday presents and meal prep. So know what it is, and if you've got folks in your family, know what each person's one thing is, and then make sure you do that. Make sure you're fully present for that thing. And then all the other stuff that is nice, really, it can take a back seat. It cannot be perfect. You can let it go so that you're fully present for those pieces that are the most important to everyone, and then everything else can just go away, or do it, but not be all fretful about it. Okay. The next tip, and this one's super duper hard for me, do things much slower than you typically do. Slow down. Oh, this is the time that I want to do 27 things. I want to multitask. So not only am I encouraging you to be slow, but to be single task focused. Like the Buddha says, cut wood, carry water. So this would be the case of open up the ham, do whatever you do to it, place it in the oven. Just be singly focused and do it very, very slowly. Bake a cake, then enjoy slicing each of the apples and cracking each of the eggs. Buying gifts, focus on one person at a time, asking yourself what your heart wants to gift them. Staying present. Making cookies, then make cookies. Wrapping presents, then wrap presents. Having people over, focus on the people, not on the lint in the corner of the dining room that no one will see. Do all things slowly and be single focused. It's one of the ways we slow down and we stay in the present. My last and final tip is probably not one that you're going to like very much, but it is about being cautious about what you eat and drink. Okay, this is really important during any stressful time, but it's particularly important around the holidays. But we know that holidays bring with it lots of festive foods and things that we enjoy in the season. But I'm encouraging you to balance this and maybe up your game a little bit. Balance it with some extra water, perhaps a salad or a walk outside. Okay, the holidays bring with it a lot of sugar and a lot of flour. And I want you to think about this for a minute. Anything that's grown that then gets so processed and ground down to a white powder, we typically call those drugs, cocaine and heroin. Well, flour and sugar are kind of the same thing. We take this thing and we grind it down to this white powder, and then it begins to affect our bodies in not a very good way. So ultimately, we're going to eat it, and I'm going to eat it. But understand that there is repercussions or a kickback if we have too much of this. So, and then how does that keep us out of the present moment? Well, we don't feel very good. We just don't feel good. And like I said, it has a kickback. So I encourage you to savor every bite of the food that you're enjoying in the season. Really slow down, like I talked about it a moment ago, and be present and eat it and enjoy it, but perhaps not quite as much as you normally would have. Okay? And my experience is the more that I slow down and truly savor every bite, the less of it I eat. So I want you to take care of your body in this kind of stressful time. So being present is taking care of yourself. So there's my list. Take a deep breath in and out as often as you need it. Zip up. Put some kind of force field around you as you go through the holidays and interact with folks that you may or may not want their energy in your space. Remember that what is. Okay, what is. Focus on the few things that you want and those in your life really want, and let the other stuff go just a little bit. To the best of your ability, slow down and be singly focused. Truly focus on what you're doing in the moment. Channel the Buddha, cut wood, carry water, wrap present, have a conversation, be in the present. And then watch what you're putting into your body and give it a little extra love. Thank you so much for taking time to listen to this podcast today, and I hope that it's given you a pearl or two of wisdom, something that you can implement right now to help you create a more beautiful life inside and out. If you've enjoyed what you got here, please subscribe or send a note or tell somebody. Let folks know that what I'm doing here is helpful to you, and perhaps they will also find it helpful. I invite you to go to sherryhoneycutt.com and click on Get Started Now. I've got some free tips and tools and things that you can use, and I'm going to be adding to that list all the time. I hope that you take advantage of what I'm putting out in the world so that you can have the life that you really, really want, that you can rock out on the life that you really want to create. So now during this holiday season, or at whatever point you're listening to this, I want you to remember you can have a beautiful life. You just have to clear your mind, clear your clutter, and clear a path to the life that you've always intended. Happy holidays, and until next time.